Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful mental model called the anchor of knowledge. Now, what is that? Well, it's all about learning to see the hidden structures that hold literally everything together, from a simple line of dominoes all the way up to the most advanced artificial intelligence.
So I want to start by having you ask yourself this one simple question. When you look out at the world, what are you not seeing? Because, so often, the most crucial part of any situation, the very thing that gives it structure and meaning, is completely invisible at a quick glance.
And that brings us right to our first key idea. We're almost always missing something. Our brains, they love to take shortcuts to make sense of the world. But in doing that, we often completely miss the very foundation holding everything up. We see a chaotic pendulum or a line of falling dominoes, and we just assume they're moving on their own. But they're not.
Think about it like this. You see a cat, right? And it's expertly navigating a busy street. You might think, wow, what a smart, independent animal. But you're missing its anchor. That cat's independence is totally dependent on its past experiences, all the training it got from its environment. We see the action, but we miss the invisible history that made that action possible in the first place. Okay, so to really see this illusion in action, let's look at two super simple physical systems. Both of them seem to be moving freely, but as we're about to see, they are both tied to an invisible anchor.
So picture a long, long line of dominoes. You give that first one a little tap, and this beautiful chain reaction just unfolds. It really looks like a self-contained system, right? Where the fall of each domino is caused only by the one before it.
But wait a second. While we're so focused on the action, the falling dominoes, we've completely ignored the most important element in the entire setup. What is the one thing so obvious that it's invisible that allows this whole chain reaction to even happen?
It's the floor. It's really that simple. And this illustrates the point so perfectly. Without a stable, flat, supportive surface, the floor, there is no domino effect, no chain reaction, none of it. This whole elegant dance of cause and effect is completely dependent on this silent, unseen, and totally forgotten foundation. That's the anchor.
Okay, let's try another one. Imagine a chaos pendulum. One of those double pendulums. You give it a little push, and it moves in a way that looks completely random and unpredictable. It swings and it spins, never repeating the same path twice. It seems like the very definition of chaos, of total freedom of movement. But is it really free? Is its chaos absolute? Even in its wildest swings, there's something constraining its movement. It can't just fly off into the next room. So what's the invisible boundary that defines the limits of its chaos? What's its anchor?
It's the pivot point, the anchor it's hanging from. The pendulum's entire universe of chaotic movement is constrained by the radius set by that one fixed point. It can move unpredictably within those boundaries, but it can never, ever escape them. It's just like how you can move your hand in any direction you want, seemingly without prediction, but you forget that your hand is anchored to your body. There's always a limit.
So we've seen these hidden foundations in action. The floor, the pivot point. These aren't just quirks of physics, they represent a really powerful idea. So let's give it a name and turn it into a mental model that we can actually use. So the crucial point is this. No matter how independent or chaotic or self-sufficient something seems, if you look closer, you will always find an anchor, a foundation, a set of rules, or a physical constraint that's quietly holding the whole system together. And here it is. The anchor of knowledge is that invisible foundation. It's the floor for the dominoes, the pivot for the pendulum, the body for the hand. It's the fundamental structure that both enables and, at the same time, limits any system. Realizing this helps us correct that cognitive bias, that failure of perception that makes us see the world incorrectly. This quote right here is the absolute heart of the anchor of knowledge. It's a fundamental law. The potential of a system is its built-in capacity, its design, its rules, its anchor. The actualization is what it actually does. And the actualization can never, ever outgrow the potential. The dominoes have the potential to fall on a line, they can never actualize the ability to fly.
Now, this might all sound a little abstract, so let's apply this concept to one of the most talked about topics today, artificial intelligence. This is where the anchor of knowledge becomes a seriously useful tool for clear thinking.
The popular narrative is that AI is surpassing humans, but the anchor of knowledge helps us reframe that. An AI model can actualize its programming, sorting through billions of data points at a speed we can't even imagine. but its potential is defined by the data it was trained on and the architecture designed by humans. We are the ones who create the boundaries of its universe.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. AI isn't creating potential out of thin air. It's a powerful tool for actualization that operates inside the potential defined by its human creators. It can explore every combination within a given rule set at lightning speed, but it can't step outside of that rule set. Human creativity and the data we feed it, that's its anchor.
Okay, so how can you start using this powerful mental model in your own day-to-day life? How do you train your brain to see the invisible anchors all around you? It's really all about shifting your perspective from the effect to the foundation.
Here's a 4-step framework you can use. First, look for the foundation. When you see an outcome, ask, what's the invisible structure that made this possible? Second, question absolutes. If something is described as totally chaotic or completely independent, look for the hidden anchor you're missing. Third, remember the rule. Actualization cannot exceed potential. A system can only do what it was designed to do. And finally, rethink the butterfly effect. It's so tempting to blame one single, distant cause for a big result. But the anchor of knowledge teaches us that systems are supported by countless inputs. Instead of looking for one butterfly, realize that the entire system, including our own actions, creates the foundation for what happens.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Look at your own life, your beliefs, your habits, your job. What are the invisible floors and silent pillars that you've been taking for granted? What unseen anchors are defining the boundaries of your reality? Because once you start to see the foundation, you gain the power to understand and maybe even change the structure itself.